Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin practice. A few props that will be handy for today. I suggest having a strap, a couple hard blocks, and maybe a soft block as well. And I'll invite you to get started in a squat today. If for any reason that doesn't work for you, then feel free to get started in a seated butterfly poses instead, or maybe an easy pose. If you are coming to a squat, then you're welcome to use your props and make yourself a little seat with your blocks. And then just see what the shape feels like. Hands can come to prayer or something like that. You can also leave the hands down towards the floor if that feels a little more stable for you. So find the expression of the squat that you like here. And if it feels okay to close down the eyes, then go for it. And settling into your shape and check in with the body and check in with the breath. Making sure it's a pain-free expression. And if you do feel pinching or anything like that, anything sharp, electric, and something in the body that kind of just shouldn't be happening, then feel free to exit the pose at any point or modify it. And check in to see if you'd benefit from a little more time in this shape, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, as you feel ready, you can flutter the eyes back open and lower one hand behind you. If you're using blocks, you can move them out and lower the bum down to the floor. And then see what it feels like. Maybe lean back on the hands and take a gentle windshield wiper side to side. Awesome. And from here, if you like to sit up off of a prop, then go for it and have your strap nearby as well. We'll set up a wide-legged stance. So taking the feet as wide apart as feels good for you. So no kind of right or wrong shape, and they might even be mostly forward, and that's okay as well. So just take a moment to set yourself up and see if you'd benefit from something underneath the knees. You're welcome to use the hard blocks. It might be a little uncomfortable. You can also roll up a blanket or something like that, just if you feel like they're extending kind of further than feels good for your body. We're going to start off with a fold through center here. So again, you could have props nearby. Maybe you're lowering down. Maybe the elbows are coming to the props. For some of you, maybe you can use a prop to support the chest or the forehead. So check in as you round forward. You could have the chin in towards the chest. Let the head hang nice and heavy. And if it feels like the back is rounding, that's totally okay. It's part of the stretch for the back body. Just make sure that it feels okay for you. So make sure that there's no pinching or anything like that. With the support of your hands, slowly start to make your way back up and come and find your tall spine. Well, for the next little sequence, we're going to keep the legs open, but just know that if it feels better to bend one knee in and work with one extended leg, if that feels more stable for you, for your body, then go for that at any time. If you are using a strap, then you might choose to loop the left foot. We're going to start off with a side stretch, so we're going to do a side bend over towards the left. So you can take the strap to the left foot and to the left hand, and then turn the chest away from the left leg so that you're lining up the left side of the body with that left leg. And then from here, you can start to arc your way over. So the strap might be handy. You can also use the elbow down to the floor for a little added stability. So see what version of this works. And then there is the option to take the other arm up and over as well. So maybe you're keeping the arm extended, maybe the palms facing down. You can bend the elbow and catch the head. Or if you like, if there's space, you might pass the strap from one hand to the other. Now notice what's happening to the body. So if you start to find that you're turning yourself in, then give yourself enough slack through the strap that you can stay kind of open. So the right shoulder stacked kind of on top of the left. If you want to walk the hand up, then go for it. But make sure you're breathing here, settle yourself in. And keep that awareness going in the spine and the shoulders and the low back, the pelvis. We're going to release, so you might let go of that strap with the right hand if you're using it. And then with a toned belly, with the support of the left hand, bring yourself up. Now we're going to switch things up. So now turn your chest to the direction of that right leg. So you're welcome to stay here and be in just the twist, maybe hands down to the floor for support. Otherwise, we'll twist and fold over that right leg. So you can start to walk the hands along the right leg and start to round your way down. Let the head be heavy here. And find your pain-free expression. Stay in the twist, but slowly walk your hands in to lift the spine back up. And then return back up to center. Hmm. And now, see what feels good here? A seated cat-cow, kind of in this position, might feel nice. So maybe hands to the legs somewhere. Inhale breath to open up the front body, maybe lift the gaze. And then exhale, you can lean back slightly and round back in. A few rounds like this might feel good. You could also take some gentle twists side to side. And take a few breaths wherever you need to be, and then we'll set up for the second round. So when you're ready, you can find your strap and then take it over to that right foot now. Setting up for the side stretch first. So turn your chest away from that right leg, lining up the right side of the body with the right leg. And start maybe with the strap in the right hand. Now think about maybe bending that elbow down towards the floor as you arc your way over towards that right leg. And see what this side feels like. And it's okay if it needs to be something a little different to the first. And you might think about passing the strap over to the left hand, or maybe the left hand is catching the head. And again, see if this means that the chest is pointing towards the floor, and give yourself as much slack as you need so that you can keep the chest nice and open. If you like to bend the bottom elbow and catch the head as well, go for it. Find your stretch. If you're holding the strap, you can gently let that go. With the support of the right hand, slowly make your way up. Taking that over to the next stretch. So you can start to turn your chest to the direction of that left leg now. And either stay upright in your twist, or if it feels okay to start to fold your way forward, and you can start to round over the leg. Hands can walk along for support. No pulling with the arms because we're rounding heavily through the spine. The head can be nice and heavy here. With the support of the hands, slowly making your way back up to your twist. And then coming back to midline and see what feels good. Maybe those twists side to side. Maybe a few rounds of seated cat-cow. You can take the hands behind you, and then one last counter stretch will be to plug down the hands and then puff up the chest. Maybe you're lifting the gaze up towards the ceiling as well. You can really press into the hands, stretch out that whole front body. Hmm. Chin towards the chest, and then make your way back up to your tall spine. And from here, if you're sitting up off of a prop, you can move that out of the way. And we're going to set up for deer pose, so we'll start off facing towards the left. So you can bend that left knee, bring the left shin so that it's roughly parallel to the top edge of the mat. Rotate that right leg in, and then right shin parallel to the long edge of the mat. So take a moment to set yourself up here, and if it feels better to have the knees a little more bent, the feet a little closer to the body, then you might choose that as an option. If you find yourself leaning over quite heavily to that left side as well, then maybe a prop underneath the left hip or the left thigh might feel good here. If the knee is sensitive or either knee, you could also bring a prop underneath there. And now turning your chest to the direction of the shin, we'll fold over the leg. And now there is the option to fold a little more towards the knee or a little more towards the foot. So if you want to experiment, see what the best place to fold is. And then if the elbows don't quite reach the floor, feel free to bring in a hard block for underneath. Or if you like to support the forehead here, maybe something for that. Mindful, especially of the left knee here. Make sure everything stays quiet. Notice if there's anything holding still from those last few shapes that you don't need now. Maybe finding a little more softness. And from your fold, slowly making your way back up with the support of the hands. If you have a prop underneath the left hip, you can move that out of the way. And then we'll take this over to the second side, so maybe leaning back on the hands and making your way to the other end of the mat any way you like. Now the pose may end up looking a little different. We're not completely symmetrical side to side, so if you need to use your props a little bit differently or if you need to modify, then go for it. and seeing where it feels best to fold this side as well. So maybe a little bit more towards the ankle, maybe a little bit more towards the knee or right in the middle. And start to make your way forward to your fold. And supported by the hands, slowly making your way back up. And removing a prop if you have it underneath the right hip. Excuse me, Moose. Leaning back on the hands, and you can start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Awesome. And then from here, if you want, have both your blocks near the top end of the mat. And we'll swing the legs around and come to lying down on the belly to set up for Sphinx pose. So you can start off with the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders. If you want a slightly softer back bend, feel free to take the elbows further forward. If you like a little more intensity, then I would suggest maybe lifting the elbows onto some props. So you have your hard blocks nearby, see what it feels like. Perhaps still keeping the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders, but to have some props underneath. And then see what arm expression you like here. You can have the arms forward, hands resting to the floor. You could also rest the forehead into the palms if that feels good for you. Mindful of the low back here. Let the legs be nice and soft. There is the option as well to bend the knees. So if you like to explore that, see what that feels like. Sometimes taking the knees just a little bit wider apart will make it more restful. You can have the knees resting in. So it'll be wherever you need to be. The gaze can be lifted, it can be lowered. Breathe into your stretch. see if you benefit from a little more time in this shape. And whenever you feel ready to exit, you can start to lower the chest down, taking the elbows a little wider apart. And maybe pausing, you can lower the forehead to the hands and give the hips a little rock side to side. And when you feel ready, flip yourself onto your back. And we'll set up our rest pose here. So for today, for Shavasana, I would suggest taking the feet wider apart and then resting the knees in together. And you could also do this with a block underneath the pelvis. So if you want to explore that, I would suggest having the feet parallel first and lifting the hips onto your prop. And then from here, walking the feet wider and resting the knees in together. So just make sure that there's no negative sensation, especially through the knees. And then see where the arms want to be. Hands can be on the body. It might feel nice to reach the arms up overhead. So take your time to find this or any other quiet symmetrical shape for your rest. And settling the body, softening anything you don't need here. If the feet are wide and the knees together, gently start to walk the feet back in. And if they're underneath the knees, you can lift the hips and then just slide your prop out of the way, lowering the pelvis back down. It might feel nice to extend the legs here and then extend the arms. Give yourself a full body stretch. Maybe a little pedaling of the feet or a little wiggle of the hips side to side, maybe a rock of the head. And then bring the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around them, bring the head to the knees and roll side to side or up and down a few times. As you feel ready, roll down to one side wherever you have the most room. Maybe pausing for a breath or two. And with the support of the hands, making your way up and coming to find any comfortable seated position. And settling the hips into the floor, lengthening the spine here, softening the shoulders. And take these last few moments of your practice to check in with the body, with the breath. And perhaps connecting the hands in at the heart and bowing the chin in towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your yin practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.